We have come up for you, Samson. You are surrounded. The mighty Samson said to be touched by your God, tied up like a sheep to slaughter. We shall see the truth to the Israelite tale today. I have 3,000 Philistine men behind me. Surely you have no chance.
Mock me all you want, Philistine, but do not mock the Lord, for he is the creator of all things, and today you shall bear witness his wrath, as he will deliver you all to my hands.
In the days when Israel had no king, and the Philistines ruled over Israel, the Lord would begin to deliver the Israelites from the hands of the Philistines through the journey of a man, his name Samson. There was a man named Manoah from the tribe of Dan. A diligent and righteous man in God's eyes, he lived with his wife Aluma. Together they lived a happy life, but with one thorn on their side. After many years, he and his wife was without child. But one day, their fate and the fate of Israel was about to change as a messenger from God appeared to her.
Do not be afraid, for behold, you are barren and have borne no children, but you shall conceive and bear a son. Now be careful not to drink wine or strong drink, and eat nothing unclean. For behold, you shall conceive and bear a son. No razor shall come upon his head, for the child shall be a Nazirite to God from the womb, and he shall begin to deliver Israel from the hand of the Philistines.
The servant of God came to me. His appearance was like that of an angel. He told me I shall bear a son, and he shall be a Nazirite to God.
O Lord, let your servant who you are sent to us come back to us to teach us what we are meant to do with the child who you are blessing us with.
God listened to Manoah, and the angel returned. Manoah asked how they should raise the boy.
Of all that I said to the woman, let her be careful. She may not eat of anything that comes from the vine, neither let her drink wine or strong drink, nor eat any unclean thing. All that I commanded her, let her observe.
Then Aluma bore a son and called his name Samson. The child grew, and the Lord blessed him.
Steady as a lion. Don't mess this up. Oh well, there goes dinner. You won't get away from me that easily.
At a young age, he already exhibited the blessing of God upon his life. He was faster, stronger, and more agile than multiple men put together. It was evident the hand of God was upon his life.
Gotcha. See, that wasn't so hard, was it?
When Samson came of age, he had grown into his blessing, already stronger than most men his age. One day, he went to his parents to tell them his intentions about a woman he laid his eyes on.
On my way back from fetching some logs in the woods, I laid my eyes on a beautiful Philistine woman in Timnah, and I intend to take her for myself as my wife.
Is there not a woman among the daughters among all our people, that you must go to take a wife from the Philistines?
Get her for me, for she is right in my eyes.
His parents did not know that this was from the Lord, for he was seeking an opportunity against the Philistines. After this, Samson became acquainted with a woman from Timnah. They met often, and their relationship blossomed. On Samson's way to Timnah, on one of his frequent visits to his bride-to-be, a fierce lion appeared to him with a spine-shaking roar. Bearing its sight on Samson, it approached him.
Easy there, my friend. I am no food for foul beast.
The lion lunged toward Samson, but he didn't yield. Landing strike after strike, he battled the great lion with courage. Then the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him, and although he had nothing in his hand, he tore the lion in pieces as one tears a young goat.
And he stood triumphant, as God had given him victory over the great beast.
A few days later, on his way back from seeing his bride-to-be, he looked upon the distance, and behold, there was a swarm of bees in the carcass of the lion he had slain, and honey. He then scraped it out into a bowl.
There was a great wedding feast thrown in honor of the union between Samson and his bride. There was dancing, drinking, and merry all around. The celebration was to go on for 7 days. Later on, during the wedding feast, Samson proposed a riddle to the 30 Philistine companions in attendance.
Let me now put a riddle to you. If you can tell me what it is within the 7 days of the feast, I will give you 30 linen garments and 30 changes of clothes. But if you cannot tell me, then you shall give me 30 linen garments and 30 changes of clothes. Out of the eater came something to eat. Out of the strong came something sweet.
What sort of a riddle is this? Samson, have you come to mock us? You have told us a riddle to which there is no answer to.
For 3 days, they could not solve the riddle. On the 4th day, they said to Samson's wife,
Entice your husband to tell us what the riddle is, lest we burn you and your father's house with fire.
You only hate me. You do not love me. You have put a riddle to my people, and you have not told me what it is.
Behold, I have not told my father nor my mother, and shall I tell you?
She wept before him the 7 days that their feast lasted, and on the 7th day he told her because she pressed him hard. Then she told the riddle to her people. After some days the feast had ended, during the time of the wheat harvest. Samson went to visit his wife, as she was still at her father's house, bringing a young goat as a gift.
I thought you utterly hated her, so I gave her to your companion. Is not her younger sister more beautiful? Please, take her instead.
This time I shall be innocent in regard to the Philistines when I do them harm.
In his anger, Samson caught 300 foxes. He took torches, turned the foxes tail to tail, and put a torch between each pair of tails. He set fire to the torches and let the foxes go into the standing grain of the Philistines, burning up the shocks, the standing grain, the vineyards, and the olive groves.
Who has done this?
Samson, the son-in-law of the Timnite, because his father-in-law gave his wife to his companion.
In retaliation, the Philistines came up and burned Samson's wife and her father with fire, and attacking the Israelites in their area as they were kin to Samson. After this, a group of Israelite men went to where Samson was gathering his thoughts and soothing his sorrow.
Have mercy on us, Samson, for we have come to bind you and give you up to the Philistines. Why have you brought great tragedy upon us?
As they did to me, so have I done to them.
Do you not know that the Philistines are rulers over us? What then is this that you have done to us? For they have burned the house of your in-laws, and we fear they have put your wife and her father to death.
If this is what they do, I swear I will be avenged on them, till there is none left, and after that I will quit. Swear to me that you will not attack me yourselves.
No, we will only bind you and give you into their hands. We will surely not lay a hand on you.
They bound him with 2 new ropes and brought him up from the rock. And when Samson came to Lehi, the Philistines came shouting to meet him. They were overwhelming in number and filled with overconfidence.
We have come up for you, Samson. You are surrounded. The mighty Samson said to be touched by your God, tied up like a sheep to slaughter. We shall see the truth to the Israelite tale today. I have 3,000 Philistine men behind me. Surely you have no chance.
Mock me all you want, Philistine, but do not mock the Lord, for he is the creator of all things, and today you shall bear witness his wrath, as he will deliver you all to my hands.
Then the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him, and the ropes that were on his arms became as flax that has caught fire, and his bonds melted off his hands. He finds a fresh jawbone of a donkey. With the might granted to him by the Almighty, he leapt into battle, dodging deadly strikes with ease. With blow after blow, he dwindled the number of Philistine warriors. It seemed like with every blow he gained more and more strength from the Lord. Heaps upon heaps, the casualty of the Philistine increased. The battle took days on end, and by the sunrise on a new day, the battlefield was filled with the bodies of the fallen Philistine men. The Lord had delivered them into Samson's hand. At the end of the battle, Samson was tired and thirsty, so he called out to the Lord,
Lord, you have granted great victory to the hand of your servant, and shall I now die of thirst and fall into the hands of the uncircumcised?
God split open the clouds at that desolate place at Lehi, and water came down to it. When Samson drank, his spirit returned, and he revived. The Philistine rulers heard of Samson's great victory, and were furious, wondering how one man could deplete their forces like that. They swore to get their revenge on him, so they came up with a plan. Samson was full of grief from the loss of his wife for some time, till he met a woman from the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. He saw favor in Delilah, and they became acquainted together, spending more and more time in each other's company. After this, Samson loved Delilah, and their relationship became more intimate. But little did he know her allegiance to the Philistine rulers was greater than the affection she had for him.
Seduce him, and see where his great strength lies, and by what means we may overpower him, that we may bind him to humble him. We will each give you 1,100 pieces of silver.
The deal was struck, and Delilah had agreed to entice Samson to find out his weakness. After several tries with no avail, Delilah grew restless, but still she was persistent. Till finally Delilah had pressed Samson daily with her words, and urged him until his soul was vexed to death.
This I tell you no one knows. A razor has never come upon my head, for I have been a Nazirite to God from my mother's womb. If my head is shaved, then my strength will leave me, and I shall become weak and be like any other man.
Delilah knew he had told her his whole heart, so she cut the locks of his hair while he slept, and she sent for the Philistine rulers. When the Philistines arrived, he awoke and thought he would go out as before, but he did not know that the Lord had departed from him. The Philistines seized him, gouged out his eyes, and bound him with bronze shackles. They took him to the temple of Dagon. Delilah had delivered Samson to the hands of the Philistine, and she was paid 40 pieces of silver as agreed. She had no remorse for his capture, for her alliance was with her people. The Philistines threw a large feast with all the elite members and leaders to celebrate the fall and capture of Samson in the temple of Dagon.
Bring out Samson to entertain us. Let him call on his great God to save him now.
They brought out the blind and weakened Samson for their amusement. The house was full of men and women, and all the Philistine rulers were there. They mocked Samson, but Samson raised his head and voice up to heaven and called on the Lord.
O Lord God, remember me. Strengthen me just this once, my God, that I may be avenged on the Philistines for my 2 eyes.
Samson grasped the 2 central pillars on which the house rested. He leaned his weight against them, his right hand on one and his left hand on the other. He pushed with all his might, and the house fell upon the rulers and all the people in it. So the dead he killed at his death were more than those he had killed in his life. Then his brothers and all his family came down, took him, and buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol in the tomb of his father Manoah. Thus, he had judged Israel for 20 years.
What an amazing episode. Samson's life story is one of strength, weakness, betrayal, and redemption. Though he was chosen by God, he allowed his desires to lead him astray. Yet in his final moments, he reached out to God, and he was forgiven. He was given the strength needed to fulfill his destiny, to begin the deliverance of Israel from the Philistines. Thank you for watching this video. If you are looking for Christian-based animations like this with lesson breakdowns about our faith, then subscribe. Like and share with a family member or close friend to support our journey. God bless.